The following podcast is recommended for mature audiences only. The following podcast is recommended for adults only. Maturity is not a requirement.
Hello and welcome to Dear Download, a podcast about Download Festival, music and the industry, and all other aspects related to rock and metal. This episode is the third episode of our headliner episode of Download 2026. It is, of course, Limp Bizkit, who are headlining the Friday. You notice that they don't have an album out by now, which is what I've said many times over the last 3 months. They'll have an album out by this point. I don't know where I got that information from. Maybe there is not going to be another album, but we're going to talk about the other albums with me, who I am Adam, and also Simon, who is here with me. I fucked that up. I'm tired, by the way. I am Adam, and as always, I'm here with Simon. How you doing, my man?
Hello. Good day to you, tired sir.
Tired. Tired. Yes,
Tired.
I'm very, very tired. I've been working very, very hard. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. A bit sick. My throat's hurting a little bit. Hopefully, Adam can cut out all of my coughing.
Yeah.
And my throat hurts a little bit. But apart from that, yeah, I'm all right. Just loaded up with the drugs, you know. Got a cup of tea here. Got a bit of water. And I'm ready to talk about Limp Bizkit.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to this one. Do you know what? I think I've got something to read out later as well. Got a couple of things to read out, which I've only just remembered. I know I said, I'm not sure if I said in the episode or after to you, but I think that Guns N' Roses episode is probably one of my favourite episodes that we've ever recorded.
Wow, okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I was not expecting that.
No, it was just good fun to talk about. I mean, this one's similar, like, there is just so much history when it comes to Limp Bizkit. A lot like, you know, quite polarizing. They've done a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of things have happened around them. So hopefully this will be a little bit even close to the Guns N' Roses one. But they're both just... It's weird that I said this to a voice message to Adam the other day, that out of the three, Linkin Park, I wouldn't say the biggest band, but maybe the biggest draw for download. Probably the least interesting to talk about, even though you know, like, their main singer died. I think that Guns N' Roses and Limp Bizkit are more interesting bands to talk about, which is just weird to think about them in that way. When you think about Linkin Park, just isn't as interesting as Limp Bizkit or Guns N' Roses. Like, probably not even close.
Yeah. Well, it was all about the sex, drugs, and rock and roll for both of them. It was none of that for Linkin Park. They didn't have the stories.
They didn't, yeah.
Do you know what? Something I haven't seen for a little while. A meme that usually does the rounds, but it's I can't remember the exact wording, but something about you never have an amazing night out on milk. I'm sure a lot of people listening probably would have seen that around, but I haven't seen it for ages now.
I've never seen that meme before. It just shows you that how your social media is targeted towards you.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen that meme before.
Yeah, but now I'm just imagining Linkin Park just sat backstage drinking milk.
Well, let's just say that Limp Bizkit and Guns N' Roses definitely aren't getting tanked and doing drugs backstage these days. They're all drinking cups of tea and, I don't know, sitting down, I guess.
Sitting down.
Just drinking tea and sitting down. That's it. That's all they do.
Not standing anymore. No, they are sitting.
No, sitting down. Sitting down. Yeah.
Anyway, we're jumping ahead a little bit. How have your last couple of weeks been, if anything interesting has happened?
No, nothing.
Nope.
Literally nothing has happened. Literally nothing's happened at all.
Cool. Fantastic. That's what happens when you have kids. You can't go anywhere anymore. Something else happened. I went to the cinema.
Oh my God.
I know. Me and Kelly went out on a date. A date day. Yeah,
nice.
She just happened to book a day off on one of my sort of scheduled days off and the kids were in school that day, so we were like,
Oh my God.
we go out for lunch. Spent 50 quid on lunch.
Wow.
And then went to the cinema to watch Scream 7
Nice.
on a Monday afternoon.
Was it any good?
I enjoyed it, yeah. The ending's a bit like, I don't really understand what's going on.
I've heard it's people have said it's just it's nothing spectacular, but it is quite enjoyable. So
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've said before on here, we used to go to the cinema all the time. And since kids, I don't remember the last time. It's been probably 10 years since we went to the cinema together, just the two of us.
Wow.
So,
Did you
yeah, it was very nice.
I'll say this quietly, did you get off in the cinema?
No.
No. Missed opportunity, man. Take it back.
Yeah. It seems kind of weird to do that at this age.
Yeah, but you might have sat in the seats and thought, oh my God, it feels like we're 15 again. Quickly, let's have a snog while we're in here. But then again, back in the day, you could do that. But now they've got like cameras and shit where they can see you. Like,
Okay.
I used to go to cinema with a chick just to get off with them, not to even watch the film. Like, you might do a few other things in there as well. But now, they've got the cameras pointed on you, man. You're getting off of each other too much. They'll come in and be like, can you stop doing that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My cinema knowledge is not up to date.
No, it's clearly not.
No.
You clearly need
But
to
it was
go
cool.
more.
No, we were looking when we were booking the seats. We were like, have they not opened the whole cinema? Not what, the whole screen? Because you only had like recliner chairs, and it was like about 5 rows. Like, okay, well, we'll just try and go like further, as far away from other people as we can. Sit on one of the ends. But no, it was a tiny screen, and that's all there was. Just loads of recliner chairs. I would say it's probably about 10 to 12 across and 5 down. So
wow, that is a really small
60
screen.
to 70 60 to 70 seats.
Yeah, that's tiny.
And it was something new to us. Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah,
that's
it was
cool.
Nice.
I like that. There's a lot of good posh cinemas. There's one in Cheltenham called the Tivoli Cinema, which is like a posh cinema where you sit on like a little recliner sofa with the person next to you, and you order your food and they bring it to you during the movie, and then like someone goes up and instead of like they get up and they go, hi everyone, welcome to the movie, then they tell you what the movie is you're going to watch. It's really cool, and you can order any alcohol you want, any food. They have like all posh place. It is literally the tits. That's how all cinemas of the future should be. So yeah, if you've got it's a brand. So if you've got a Tivoli cinema near you, there's a good one in Cheltenham. You should go. It's the best way to watch a film ever. But similarly to that, posh seats, small screens. It's just really nice.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Awesome. Cool. I was not expecting that to be such a long chat about just going to the cinema, but at least it was something to fill the gap, because neither of us have much of a life anymore.
Bunch of losers. That's what we are. That's why.
Yeah. No, if I like I said, I'm just tired. I've been working a lot recently. Well, I've always working a lot, but working hard recently. So if I'm tired throughout this and not making any sense, you can blame my manager. His phone number will be in the episode description. Send him a message.
Yes.
It won't. I gotta say this.
Oh my God, that would be incredible. Okay, when he leaves this job, if he ever does, then we will enter it into this episode.
No, they've been all right recently. They've been all right.
Okay.
Is there anything else we want to talk about? Is there any news happen? There is news as well, actually. As twice I've done that now, asking you a question and answering myself. Is there any news you wanted to talk about before the main subject? My subject? No? Okay. Raunchy are bringing an album out this summer.
That is exciting, actually, to be fair.
Yes.
That is exciting. I need to have a raunchy binge at some point. I need to just go all the way through.
We do it. We do it for the podcast. We do
a
raunchy special.
Raunchy special. Okay.
But it won't get any views. So, playing the game, right? I'd never screenshotted this to show you, but when we were talking about bands that we want to see at Download, and Raunchy was in one of mine, and I cut them up into smaller videos to put on social media on TikTok, raunchy, like all the other videos from that series have got like 10 to 15 times more views than the raunchy one because of their name. I'm
Oh, I get you.
99% certain of it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why.
not really a name that. Well, I mean, it's not really a name they invented during social media because it didn't exist. So, I suppose
Yeah.
if you've got a dumb name that the algorithm might recognize it as something else, it probably doesn't work in your favor these days. And
No.
they're not a very big band anyway, so
No.
so yeah.
But yeah, so when we do that episode, it won't get any views or listens, but we'll enjoy doing it.
No, but seriously, we like they are an excellent band. We've said about them, but we've never we've talked about little bits. I think we talked about one of their albums. I think it was in one of the one of the years that we'd done. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Wasteland Discotheque that we talked about.
Okay.
But we haven't really we just keep on joking about raunchy, but we've never actually sat
Yeah.
down and gone, guys, seriously though, right? I know it's a stupid name, but this band are fucking sick.
They are fucking sick.
Yeah.
And yeah, the last album was. So let's go into this really quickly as well, actually.
Oh my god!
Before,
Do you know what? Forget Limp Bizkit, right? This is the raunchy special. I don't give a fuck, right? Fuck all the notes we've written. Let's just talk about raunchy for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, this is not specifically. This is not raunchy specific. But we're not quite at the 20-minute mark. Somehow, for some reason, we managed to talk for about 20 minutes before going to the main subject.
Oh,
Even
that's
if
why
we've
we
got
lose half the listeners.
Even if we've
That's
got
why
nothing to talk
the listen
about,
time dips.
we still managed to talk for 20 minutes somehow. I don't know how or why, but we're at like 12 minutes at the moment, so I've got to fill it with something.
Oh, so we've
I'm
got
gonna
another
fill it
8
with this.
minutes to go.
Yeah, I got now 8 minutes of no. This will be quite heavily cut down probably, but anyway, see, none of your other podcasts have as much fun as this, do they, when they're recording? Anyway. They have got a lot of awesome stuff, right, that we were just saying.
Yeah.
But if we were to tell people to go and listen to Raunchy, what would they do? They go to Spotify and they would listen to their top song on Spotify, maybe the second song if they like what they hear. So they'll listen to some of their top 5 on Spotify.
Yeah.
What if that's not their best songs?
It's a possibility because it's a lot of bands' best songs are not in the top songs.
No. And so I was thinking this with Self-Deception to start with, and I was thinking like a lot of their popular songs at the moment or over the last 2-3 years are in their top 5, but their best songs are from when they first started 10-15 years ago or whatever. And if I want to tell people to listen to them, I want to tell them to go and listen to some of their older stuff when they're sounding a bit like In Me, when they're when they're so really cool, but the other thing is, this new current sort of style that they've got going is what's got them to the position they are, to how big they are. So maybe it's just my opinion. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe if you did like a survey, you'd be one out of, say, if it was 10 people, you'd be the only one out of the 9 that thought that the older stuff was better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest, people's attention spans are so short, apart from people like us that, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, because obviously there are still, younger people now that have good attention spans. It's just social media has wiped a lot of people out when it comes to that. But we grew up in a time, we talk about it all the time, we grew up when CDs, so you kind of appreciated the whole product. And we listen to, well, you try to listen to albums. We listen to albums, right?
I listen to albums.
You listen to albums, you do. But we listen to albums, like we want a whole package where other people will be perfectly content just listening to those top songs and not going to say, hey, maybe something on one of these albums is better, let me spin them, because they just won't do that. Unless it would be maybe part of a playlist that someone had made. Like, I've got I've got a whole folder of best ofs where I do my own best ofs of the bands, and I think maybe that's a better way to reach people. If you were to do like a best of Raunchy, and then say, listen to this because this will get you into the band. Because that's how I got into a lot of the bands. A lot of the Roadrunner best of CDs. Like that's how I got into Life of Agony. I got the best of Life of Agony CD. I listened to it and I was like, this fucking band are amazing. But I never went out of my way to listen to one of their albums before. The same as I liked Typo, but then Roadrunner brought out their least worst of, which is such a typo thing to fucking do. The least worst of typo negative.
Worst of.
It's so good. It's such a great typo. They never took themselves seriously, which is the best bit about them. And that there was some songs on that where some of the albums back in the day, they were too hard to get hold of, especially the early ones. So I never heard any of the really, really early stuff. And I tried to download it and it just wasn't the right songs. So, those CDs helped you. They were like, this one's from Origin of Feces. And I never had that CD growing up because you couldn't get it for shit in certain places or it was really expensive. So I think Best Ofs is a good... It's sad that we've lost it now where... Because you don't have best of CDs, you could have a best of playlist. But I don't know. But I get what you mean. It's really annoying when I love a band and I'm like, oh God, people are just listening to these first two songs and they're not the best tracks, man. There's some deep shit in there, Like I feel it totally.
Yeah. So your advice is to send them a mixtape.
Basically.
Yeah. And I agree with that. That should become normal again, I reckon.
Yeah, mixtapes. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. Like I've got so many playlists. And we always recommend a playlist, or I make a playlist, or whatever. And people do listen to them because when I go on my followers, like some of my playlists have got a shitload of followers, and it's from doing this where I say to people, go check out the best of, whatever. Whenever we do one of these shows, people do go and check them out. So hopefully, a best of has been a way of getting people into bands.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna take that and run with it and make something.
Yeah,
and try and create a movement. But
this is coming from someone who, because I was so addicted to recording the radio, making cassettes, burning CDs, I'm addicted to making playlists. It's almost like a weird addiction. I have made like over 2,000 playlists or something stupid like that on Spotify.
Christ.
I have like one for moods. I make my best of this. I haven't got a best of goth metal playlist. I better make myself one of those. I've made new metal playlists. I've made playlists specifically to play when we're at Download Festival. I've made best ofs. I've made ones of years, bands I was into in 1999 playlist. I've like all those sort of things. And that's probably some form of ADHD or I don't know, some form of autism or something, but that is something I have been doing literally since I listened to music.
Yeah, that's cool. I was going to say the same, but I wasn't sure if you would admit it because you've said that both of your siblings have something like that, but I haven't got it.
Oh no, I'm sure. Those two are idiots, though. Like at least I have a brain. And I can function as a normal human being. I'm joking. I love my brother and sister. But it manifests itself in different ways. I love your brother and sister. Yeah, it manifests itself in different ways. And for me, it's like, and everyone has this. Loads of people have it. Just being particularly nerdy about one certain thing. Like we'll be laying in bed, and Vicky will be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Making a playlist."
Making a playlist. Yeah.
She's like, "Why?" Cool. I'm like, "Well, because I've got to drive somewhere tomorrow, so I'm going to make this playlist to listen to on the way." Weird. So I've just outed myself as something very strange.
Fine. Question: do you listen to the playlist in order or random?
Depends if I've done it chronologically. So if I'm making a best of playlist and I want to relive the sort of journey of that band, then I'll listen to it as I've put it out. If it's If it's just like a driving playlist, it will be random. So whatever song comes in after the other. So it depends. I've also started. So old Metal Hammer CDs that I had. I've started doing the exact same tracks as a playlist on Spotify. So I'm listening to the Metal Hammer CDs as I would have before. The problem with that is a lot of the songs that are on these Metal Hammer CDs actually aren't on the internet, aren't on Spotify or anywhere. So some of them are quite like rare old versions of stuff, or it'll be like a different version. You'd be like, this sounds like shit, what the fuck is this? And it's some weird version of it. Has this been 20 minutes yet? Can we talk about Limp Bizkit?
We're 20 and a half. So we just spent 8 minutes talking about that. That was cool. Okay, so yes, let's move on from trying to drag the episode out and move on to Limp Bizkit, who are so Simon will, as always, have a little bit written about Limp Bizkit in general, but they were headlining Download for the first time. Obviously, they Is this the fourth time they've played, or just the third?
Uh,
I think they've headlined the second stage once. They played a couple of years back, and they played like in 2013 might have been their first year.
no, 2009, 2013, 2024.
Okay,
So
so
this will
this
be
will be
their
the
fourth.
fourth time. Yeah. So yeah, let's see what Simon has.
Let's do it. So yeah, I'll give you a little intro, and then we're going to talk about some controversies and some other things surrounding the band. Then we'll talk about their relationship with Download, and then we will talk about the music. So kind of similar like we did to in the last Guns N' Roses episode. Go and check that out if you haven't. Limp Bizkit are a new metal band.
Sorry, I copied that from you. I fully stole it from you.
Yeah, from Jacksonville, Florida, formed in 1994, believe it or not. The band, up to recently, rarely consisted of the original lineup, which was DJ Lethal on keyboards and decks, Sam Rivers on bass, of course he sadly passed away now, John Otto on drums, Wes Borland on guitar, and Fred Durst on vocals. Musically, they're known for, blending genres, hip-hop, rock, metal. Band's got a really, really tight groove, really good sound. One of those bands that you kind of can't help but bopping your head to. Probably most known for a couple of things, being Wes Borland's experimental guitar style. He's a well-renowned guitar player as well. I think every guitar player respects Wes Borland for his sort of weird style of playing guitar and, all the effects and just crazy stuff that he does. And of course, Fred Durst's rap and singing style, which I still for this day don't think he gets enough credit as a singer, because I do think he's actually a really good singer and a fucking incredible front man as well. You can't get much of a better hype man than Fred Durst. He's incredible. They've been nominated for 3 Grammys and have sold over 40 million records worldwide.
Yeah.
I
never said that once before this podcast. Sorry, I have just fully stolen that from you. It's really cool saying that.
Yeah.
I feel good saying that.
I mean, literally, me and my brother would just to everything. You'd either get or you get the yeah. You'd either get the James Hetfield or you'd get the Fred Durst, depending on which you wanted. But anyway, quickly before we go into the crazy feuds and all sorts of other shit that's gone on, Bizkit have been one of my mainstay bands. I'd say from when I first started listening to rock and metal music, they were one of the bands that I got into, and they're probably one of the bands that I haven't stopped listening to since. Like, I've just there's never been a phase in my life where I haven't listened to Limp Bizkit in some form or another. So it's going to be one of those ones where I was, apart from the first album, because I just missed it because I was just that little bit too young. For the rest, I was, here and all releases and phases and stuff. Is this a lot like Linkin Park for you, or did you dip in and out of places?
I tried listening to all of it. I didn't just sort of dip out like with Linkin Park. I dipped out and then stayed out. I similar to you, but you're a little bit older than me by about 5 or 6 years. But so not 5 or 6 years.
Easy, Jesus Christ, mate. Jesus Christ.
No, I think I just missed Significant Other. Similar to you, but a little bit later. So I was around for
see, that's where I came in.
Starfish.
So I would have been in just a couple of years before, not much, but yeah.
So obviously Chocolate Starfish, and then it was Results May Vary. Was there one between them? I own Results May Vary. I think I might own all of them. I definitely own The Unquestionable Truth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually. Maybe I don't own Gold Cobra, or the latest one actually. But I listened to them all. I wasn't the biggest fan of them all, but at least I tried them with them.
Yeah. So your relationship is you have been there. You've tried everything.
Yeah.
Probably like most people, really. Most people have gone, oh, there's a new Bizkit album out. Let's have a listen and see what they've done. Although they haven't been quite as prolific album-wise as a Linkin Park have, and not quite as non-existent as a Guns N' Roses have been. So it's kind of like a perfect in between, really, because they haven't been that consistent, but they haven't been as inconsistent as Guns N' Roses were. Anyway, I'm babbling. Let's move on. So I've just got a few things from their sort of history, all from the 90s and early 2000s, just some talking points and a few things that happened. So in 1998, while they were on their first Ozfest tour, Limp Bizkit fans would regularly break through the barricades, causing shows to constantly be stopped multiple times, and it was becoming a bit of a problem. I think a lot of the bands were getting annoyed that Bizkit fans were going so mental to their songs that they kept on having to stop the shows because the barriers were just ripping open because there was just too many people, surging towards a band, which, if you're in the band, fucking awesome. On the same tour, John O was arrested on a misdemeanor charge of carrying a concealed weapon after allegedly firing a BB gun at someone. And then when he was arrested, he had a switchblade in his pocket. So he was carrying a knife, basically. I don't think with any intention of stabbing someone. I think he was just had a switchblade on him. I don't know why, because they look cool, or I don't know. But just one of those things that happened. On the opening night of their 1999, this is great, Limptropolis tour with Kid Rock. It's fucking incredible. You should go through and look at some of their tour names. They're all amazing.
Yeah, there's some terrible names, isn't they?
Yeah, that's what I feel like some people are missing with Limp Bizkit. I feel like they feel like they think that they're always serious and they're so like, yeah, fuck the world and all that. But I think people miss that they're not always taking themselves seriously. And I think that's one of the main things about Limp Bizkit that people just never got. They never saw the tongue-in-cheek side of Limp Bizkit. I think people more now probably do, but at the time, people just thought this band was so serious, and they were serious about everything they were doing, but actually they really weren't. So just one thing that I don't think people have ever got. I'll say the same for Typo Negative as well. People never really saw the cheeky side. Anyway, so on the opening night of the 1999 Limptropolis tour with Kid Rock, Sam Rivers smashed his bass guitar on stage, apparently over frustration with the sound, which sounds like a very Guns N' Roses thing to do. Splitting his hand open, he went to the hospital and managed to return before the set had finished. But on the same tour, or possibly the same gig, Fred Durst was said to have kicked a security guard in the head and was arrested on assault charges. So, and not like Guns N' Roses, these guys have been in trouble with the law for doing stupid shit. Just it's typical stuff of the time. Right, Woodstock 99 we will talk about briefly. So I'll give you guys a lowdown if you don't know about Woodstock 99. So basically Woodstock 99, obviously if you know about Woodstock, the history is it was a 1960s festival that was massive and had loads of artists on it, very famous. They tried to revive it in the 90s. They had one in 1994 that was really successful. And then obviously during the sort of middle part of nu metal, when that was huge and alternative bands were massive, they thought we'll bring it back in 1999. But unfortunately, it's down as one of the worst ran festivals ever, with so many things that were done wrong and oversights and basically just a terrible organisation of the festival. And obviously you haven't seen it. There's a whole documentary on Netflix. Anyway, so during Limp Bizkit's performance, all hell literally broke loose. The crowd were just going insane. It was literally like some sort of weird frenzy had come over everyone. During the show, there were multiple assaults, multiple fights. Fans tore off plywood from the walls, caused a shitload of property damage. During the show, Durst addressed the crowd when he was told that the show was being stopped because the crowd were basically going too mental. Everyone was told to take a step back. People at the front were getting crushed, all sorts of shit. And I quote, this is what he said on stage. So he said, "People are getting hurt. Don't let anybody get hurt. But I don't think you should mellow out. We already let go all the negative energy. Now we want to let in the positive energy." Obviously, Limp Bizkit were sort of used as scapegoats for a lot of the negative press at this festival. And at the time, they were just blitzed with it was Limp Bizkit's fault. They got the crowd wired up and all this stuff, which actually is absolute bollocks. The entire failings were the responsibility of the organisers of the event for not having enough security, not having enough measures in place, upping a lot like down in 2006 and why there was a riot there, upping water prices, not having water points, not having the right infrastructure, basically. And Limp Bizkit were blamed for a lot of it when in fact, how can you blame a band for making a whole entire festival? People the night before were causing havoc, and then the night after on the Red Hot Chili Peppers night, it was even worse. They started like setting fire to shit. But because Limp Bizkit were such a diversive band, they were used as a scapegoat for why the festival had gone so mental. The band shot back at that controversy. If you remember, in the video for Rearranged, they're depicted as being publicly executed, and in it they're drowned in milk, because apparently they had to specifically be drowned in milk and not water, otherwise they wouldn't have been allowed to put the video on TV, because it would have been literally people dying. But because it was milk, it was okay to sort of be drowned in milk. But that was their kind of shot back, because you see all the people sitting there taking notes, all in their sort of, suits and stuff. So it was kind of a shot back as to say, we're putting on trial for something that really wasn't our fault. But if you want to kill us for it, that's fine as well. That's a really awesome video, by the way. You should watch that. Yeah.
Probably have. I can't think of it at the minute. But yeah, I'm sure I've seen it at some point.
It's cool how it goes perfectly into the End Together Now video with Method Man as well, because at the end they're sort of floating in a white room, and then Fred Durst falls. Okay. He goes, whoa, falls. And then if you watch the video, he falls down onto Method Man's sofa, and then End Together Now starts. So they actually blended the two videos perfectly in together, which is really cool. So if you watch those two videos back to back, Rearranged and End Together Now, they blend perfectly, which is pretty cool.
I didn't know that went with Limp Bizkit. I'm sure I've seen other bands do something very similar, but honestly I can't think who now. It would have all been a long time ago. I'm not going to comment too much on Woodstock 99. I have seen the documentary. It's also on YouTube, which is where I watched it. You pretty much covered everything. If I start adding stuff or commenting on what you said, we'll talk for another 20 minutes on it. So yeah, it's so good and so eye-opening. Exactly like you said, it's really, really badly organized, and they blamed Limp Bizkit when they shouldn't have. And basically, the owners just fled, if I remember correctly. They was like, let's leave somebody else to deal with it.
Absolutely insane, isn't it? When you think of all the sort of safety measures and all the things that are in place that are like, a download now, for instance. It has its raucous moments and stuff, but I guess people are different as well. The world was very different back then. People go a lot more mental at gigs. It was way better. But yeah, so it's a different time. But anyway, you want to watch that documentary. It's really, really good. So just moving on to a couple more things. So in the summer of 2000, Limp Bizkit's tour was sponsored by the controversial sharing service Napster, that of course Metallica's Lars Ulrich tried to sue for putting their music online, to saying that it was going to ruin music. And how right he was. Everyone laughed at Lars back then, but I think that there were a few people that could really see how the internet was going to change how people saw music. And I feel kind of bad for the fact that people laughed at him back then, because no one could see what he was talking about. David Bowie as well. There's a famous interview with David Bowie. I think that's even earlier. It's in like 98, where because 98 people didn't really understand what the internet was and how it could be used. It was kind of just seen as a thing to send emails to each other. But David Bowie was like, the internet will change music forever. Music will never be the same now. People will share music, get music, all this sort of stuff. So I think there were certain people that could see what the possibilities of, the internet was going to be for music. So fair play to them, because a lot of people couldn't see that at the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, streaming and streaming sites, I guess, like Spotify have been around since 2018 years. Which is a long time. So, of course, Metallica are poor now because they don't make any money from sales. Lars is such a poor... He's pretty much homeless. They didn't make way too much money back in the 80s and 90s. They weren't exploited. They didn't exploit people buying music and going to shows. It's no. I think people are never going to get that rich anymore because they can't. There's nothing to exploit anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think people should get that.
There's one
rich
thing
and
to
famous
exploit.
from music.
They're called gig ticket prices.
Yeah.
That's the only thing left, isn't it, to exploit, really?
Yeah, and so blame the ticket people for that. Give the band extra money. Okay, yeah, maybe they could get a bit of extra money from streaming, but just because going off, you've hit a little bit of a nerve, and I've never studied this. I've never looked into it fully, but like I just think, but I do have strong feelings on it. Like people expect to get as big and rich and famous as the people in the 70s and 80s if they go into music. No one does, so they just bitch about streaming.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not going to happen. They should never have got that rich and famous in the first place.
Yeah, I think if you're in those middle years, you're okay to bitch about it. The ones that never quite got as much money as they should have. But bands like Metallica, who made a fucking lot of money, don't really have the right. Well, I suppose it's like having something taken away from you that you had, I guess, as well, for them, probably more than, because they had that comfort of, we can make a shitload of money off these albums, and then all of a sudden it's like, we don't really make anything from that anymore, even though they're still making music. So
yeah, but I think it's a very similar argument to billionaires in general. You don't you normal average regular person is never going to become a billionaire. It's down to who you are and who you know, what you're born into. And most of these get. I mean, just look at Sleep Token. Look at President. Look at this other Sleep Token band that are playing this year. It's like, first gig, we keep our faces covered because it's all about the music and not about the band. But if your music was that good, you could work your way up from the bottom. You could play shows to 10 people, 15 people. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
cool.
It's an interesting thing to talk about. I mean, we could literally do a whole episode on that, where we could just talk about the ins, the outs, how it affected people, how things change. Like, it's a really interesting thing to talk about. But we won't do that here. But anyway, there you go. Look at that, guys. You got a preview of a episode we'll do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get an expert on this as well, or some kind of person in the know, because, like I said, I've not researched it. I'm just going on pure emotion at the moment, and I am more than happy to be educated. People are might be screaming at their earphones, and there's going to be loads and loads of different views and opinions on it, and it's not a difference of one's right, one's wrong. It's it's grey area, so some pros and cons, some
definitely some pros, but cons as well, but definitely some pros. 100%.
I could be swayed to have a different opinion in a different way, if people make the right arguments. So I'm not just being a dick about music, and it's not like I don't want people to ever get famous anymore or rich.
There you go, guys. You heard it here first. Adam hates music now. Anyway, let's move on.
Just move on, sorry.
So in the summer of 2000, Limp Bizkit's tour was sponsored, of course, by Napster. They were doing free shows at the time with nothing but a metal cage separating them from the crowd. There's no barrier. You can see clips of them online. They would put little bits of that in some of the music videos. Looked absolutely insane, just having a cage separating a raucous crowd from a band, which is just an insane thing. It's fucking
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, you can see clips on it. There's videos now online, but before, if you look in a couple of music videos, you can see clips of the cages, which is just amazing. They were also doing guerrilla tours where they were literally doing illegal live shows. So they'd find like a roof or a garage or somewhere across the country when they were touring, and they'd just do a show. Set up and do a show illegally. Obviously, you have no license to play music in these places, no license anything, and then they'd let people know on their website the day before, And then all these people would just come and fucking do it, or they'd let them know the same day, even in some cases. I bet being at one of those would have been amazing. Just seeing Limp Bizkit playing on a rooftop, just being like, what the fuck is going on up there? It's Limp Bizkit on your roof.
Yeah. I've seen stuff like that happen in Bridgewater as well. Not for a long time, and it was very few and far between. But it just made me think, now that everybody knows that the police force is very, very thinly stretched, I'm surprised things like that don't happen anymore, because you're far more likely to get away with it these days.
And it would be a good publicity stunt as well. If you're like quite a big band and you're like, dude, let's fucking find a place, right? And let's set up and get some safety precautions in so people don't get too mashed up. But like, just say like 3:00 here. Just don't say anything more than that. It would be so sick.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And it would spread like fire on social media as well. I mean, to be fair, Foo Fighters have been doing that in venues recently where they said like a week before, hi guys, we're going to play loads of shows. So you've got like barely a couple of days notice to get Foo Fighters tickets. That's pretty cool.
Tickets on the door as well. Only no online tickets. Only tickets on the door.
Tickets on the door, and cool. That's really cool. Like I know they're still venues, but they're much smaller venues than Foo Fighters. You know, Foo Fighters play stadiums for fuck's sake, and then they're playing like Brixton Academy basically size shows, which is just insane. So bands are doing it, but I would like something more guerrilla style. You need I don't know who. I'm trying to think of a band that would be really, that would suit that kind of underground guerrilla style stuff. But I'm sure it will come to me at some point.
Yeah, start a band to do that.
Yes, yeah, we'll see.
Just go and start singing on your own, and just
get a band.
People will come and join you.
I need a guitar player. Need a bass player.
I need a guitarist.
Need a drummer.
Let's go get it.
Come over. That's great. I'll do some open mic nights by myself in an alleyway somewhere. And the last thing I want to mention quickly is obviously in October 2001, Wes Borland left Limp Bizkit. We'll talk about that when we talk about the music. Durst held nationwide auditions for a new guitarist called Put Your Guitar Where Your Mouth Is. And I remember this happening. I remember the images and pictures of this being in all the magazines at the time. However, Mike Henderson, who was one of the guitarists who went to the audition, revealed that the event was nothing more than a publicity stunt. Durst had no intention of recruiting a new guitarist, and the whole thing was basically intended to sell Guitar Center products.
Okay.
And everyone was really pissed off because people genuinely thought that they might get an unknown to be the new Limp Bizkit guitarist. And I'm sure they tried out some fucking great guitar players as well. No one famous. I mean, you could be anyone. I think they had like a screening process, so to make sure you could actually play guitar to a certain level. But there's like there was videos and all sorts of stuff going around at the time of just kids just playing with Limp Bizkit, basically. They obviously they went with Mike from Snot. They didn't go with someone that they didn't know personally. So what I heard about that was pretty the same as you said. I didn't hear about the Guitar Center stuff, but they were actually secretly holding proper auditions in the background. So they were never going to recruit any of these people. It was just a ad campaign, basically. Yeah, which is cool because like everyone knew about it back in the day. So it kind of worked to get the buzz up for their like having a new guitar player and that all being announced and stuff. But if I remember, it was ages after that they announced their guitarist, so it didn't really capture anything, I don't think. Cool. But okay, a few things I just want to mention before. Have you ever watched the MTV Icons Metallica gig? No. Fucking hell, why not? Okay, so basically in 2000... I don't think I'd ever heard of MTV Icons until you told me about it. Yeah, so like in 2003, basically they were doing these... for a couple of years, I think, up to this point, they were doing these icon shows where they were taking bands, big bands, and they were saying... basically like it was like a half documentary where they were going into the band's history, doing all this, and then part live show. So they'd have like an audience, small audience, and bands would do covers of that band's songs, but the band would be present as well. It's like an awards ceremony. They'd be there, their friends, their family, all the bands, and they would play these songs to the band. They've done it for quite a few years after as well. There's quite a few good ones, but the Metallica one was fucking amazing. I'll quickly go through who done the covers quickly because obviously it does involve Limp Bizkit. So we had Sum 41 doing For Whom the Bell. This was like a medley. For Whom the Bell Tolls, Enter Sandman, and Master of Puppets, which is really good. There was Stained doing an acoustic cover of Nothing Else Matters, which was okay. Avril Lavigne doing Fuel, which was pretty good, actually. I think the music was good. I don't think she sounded that great singing a Metallica song, but she was going for it. Snoop Dogg done Sad But True, which is still one of the most odd things you'll ever... He's a big metal guy, you know, he likes metal, so he's wearing like the sickest long sleeve Metallica shirt you've ever seen, just singing Sad But True. It's really great cover, actually. This is where, of course, Korn's cover of One came from as well. Quite a famous cover that they play a lot. It's a fucking great live version as well. And then I probably think the best cover of a Metallica song ever, which is Limp Bizkit doing Welcome Home Sanitarium. It is fucking amazing. The whole show is on YouTube if you want to watch it. Just type in MTV Icons Metallica. It comes up with the whole show in HD. Fucking sounds amazing with all the documentary bits as well. And yeah, but the Bizkit cover, wow, they do really well with it. Kind of make it their own. It kind of sounds like a Bizkit track, but it's a Metallica song, and you're like, oh, okay. And yeah, it's just really great. So check it out. And dude, go and just, if you're going to listen to anything, just listen to that Bizkit track.
And the Snoop Dogg one, obviously.
Oh,
that sounds so cool.
It's so good. It's so cool, man. He's just like doing his typical chilled out thing, but just to fucking Sad But True. It's so random. It was great. At the time, we were like, fucking Snoop Dogg, man. That is fucking unbelievable. And then Metallica do a couple of songs as well. They do like a big medley, and unfortunately, they play Frantic for the first time, and then everyone fucking sighs and goes, "Oh God, terrible." Download. Should we talk about Limp Bizkit and Download now? Our very, very first podcast episode title.
Yes.
No, is it the first one or the second one? I think it's the second one. Second one
Yeah.
is a reference literally to Limp Bizkit, which is Fred Durst saved Download. So basically the first
almost
ever
5
download.
years ago now.
Yeah, but oh my God. Basically, if you're not aware, the first ever download, Limp Bizkit were supposed to headline it. That didn't happen, unfortunately. Audio Slave ended up headlining as well, from sub-headliner to headliner. And yeah, basically that kind of saved the festival, almost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you said before, they actually he never paid Fred Durst. No, they didn't have to pay Fred Durst. But yeah, they broke even because they didn't have to pay Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, and festivals naturally in the first few years are money losers. So to break even on your first festival is a massive deal. And the lineup after in 2004 would be amazing as well. I'm sure at some point they lost a bit of money as well as made money and up and down for a bit. But yeah, for that to happen on your first festival, not having to pay someone that you booked, and I think we read somewhere as well that only one person asked for a refund when Limp Bizkit cancelled.
Yes, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so in theory, Fred Durst cancelling Limp Bizkit actually possibly saved Download Festival. So if you ever get a chance to talk to Fred Durst at Download and maybe mention that to him and say, thanks, man, this whole festival exists because of you, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, if we see him, I think we should say to him, thanks, dude.
Thanks, bro. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, brother. But you were there. You were there. You were at the first one, so I'm sure, like a lot of people, you were expecting to see Limp Bizkit. That obviously didn't happen.
Yeah. What album was out at this point? What was the latest album out? Was it Chocolate Starfish?
No, this is Results May Vary would have been out by now, or just coming out. Or just the couple of singles, Eat You Alive definitely would have been out by this point.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, like you said, would have been expecting to see him. I was mostly going for Iron Maiden.
Of course.
Yeah, anyway. And everybody else was a bonus.
So
yeah, I don't remember being too hyped particularly for them anyway at the time.
Well, I think that this was a trigger for the free concert they done a couple of months later. So
yes,
Finsbury Park, which I was lucky enough to go to. So they did a free concert in Finsbury Park in London, you still had to get tickets, but the tickets were free. You didn't have to pay for the tickets. And my friend Wesley managed to score a couple for me and him, and we were like, fucking yes, we're going to see Limp Bizkit in Finsbury Park. And all of that show in HD, also on YouTube, because it was filmed for MTV at the time. That's a hell of a show, by the way. So I think them not playing Download caused, because I wasn't going to go to Download that year, caused me to watch one of the best live shows I've ever seen, which is Limp Bizkit in Finsbury Park in 2003. So it's kind of like a weird catalyst thing. Although I had seen them before. The first time I saw Bizkit was June 2001, right in the fucking touring of Chocolate Starfish, which is just an amazing memory to have. But yeah, it was one of the greatest birthday. The second greatest birthday present I've ever got. The first greatest birthday present I ever got was my first Download ticket. The second best present I ever got was my friend calling me up and saying, "I've got you something for your birthday," and then turning up and having fucking 2 tickets to Limp Bizkit in 2001 when they were literally the hottest band on the planet. So it was literally like, holy shit, dude. Thank you so much. So yeah. Thanks to my mate Razi. Love you, mate. But and then the next time, believe it or not, they played down, it took quite a while because obviously the whole Where's Born thing leaving, then results may vary, all that shit. They didn't come back to Download then until, of course, what we talked about recently, the legendary 2009 set.
Yeah. Where were they? Were they headlining the second stage?
That was after.
It was after. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2009, which we spoke about a couple of episodes ago, so if you want to go check out our Download 2009 episode, go and check that out. But yeah, again, it seems to be like all of their sets, whenever they play it Download, are all in HD on YouTube, because the 2009 one is as well. Not in HD, but it's still good enough to watch, I would say. It's not filmed on a potato. It's pretty good. But yeah, that was an incredible set, which we talked about last time. We were both there for that one.
Yes. Yeah. I still don't remember much about it. There's not much I can say at this point.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know how I feel about it, just go back to that, because but I was there for it, pretty close. Could see Fred Durst with my own eyeballs, pretty big in my view. So I was pretty close for that one. Then the next time they would come back, where they were headlining the second stage, was Download 2013, which I was also there for. Were you there for that one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have been. I don't remember that much about it, but I definitely would have gone to see them.
Yeah, I remember being there, looking back at the crowd and thinking, whose fucking idea was it to put this band on the second stage in any slot headliner? Because I look back thinking, that you're not getting any more. You're not even getting one more person into this bit. This is absolutely insane. They technically should have been nowhere near the second stage. Although, if you were in the mix and you got there nice and early, it was really cool because it was so rammed and it had a lot of like good vibe to it. But I do remember that being an absolutely incredible show as well, and a lot of moshing.
Cool.
Then, then of course they returned to. Did they sub-headline in 2024?
Yeah, just below. Yeah, not just below Korn. Korn was last year. But yes, they did sub-headline. I don't remember which day or who to, though.
Anyway, we're a Download podcast. Well, we're not a Download podcast. We cover Download a lot. So 2024 was the last one, which a lot of people enjoyed. They were very good. I don't think it's the best Bizkit set I've seen. I don't think it was the best sounding Bizkit set I've seen, but I still had a hell of a lot of fun. We were over on the right-hand side for that one. And I absolutely loved it. So I think that actually they've got a really good lineage of playing Download, because I don't think they've played a bad show at Download before.
No, and it's not been too many times, and it's not been too few either. If you think of someone like Rammstein, who played once, is it? Or did twice now? Twice.
Yeah, 2013, 2016.
Okay. Oh, but still a long time ago. So like people want them, but like you just sort of not expecting them because it's been such a long time.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Yeah, and one thing that I'll never forget about their set in 2024, which was after their set, was Andy Copping basically ran onto the stage to speak to Fred after their set. and I've never seen him do that to any other band. And obviously that would have been probably when he was asking them at that weekend, saying, "Come and headline for us in 2026."
Yeah.
But yeah, just for him to love it so much, just to come out from behind the scenes, because you don't see him on the stage that much.
No.
Maybe unless you're at the front and you're sort of looking out, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And like we've spoken about before, they booked their headliners probably a couple of years in advance. So at that point, either he would have known they were headlining, or they would have been sort of negotiating them headlining at that point. So yeah. Anyway, Andy who? He's gone now. Okay, so we will divulge into their music, but before we get to the albums, there's a couple of things I want to mention that are sort of... Limp Bizkit have a history of releasing good songs randomly, or like not putting them on their albums, or having them as B-sides. So we'll just talk about a couple of those quickly. So when they were writing Results May Vary, they were messing around with loads of tracks. One of them leaked onto the internet, and they played it at WrestleMania 19, which was the track Crack Addict. Did you listen to that back in the day? It was like a really big sort of leaked song going round where people were like, "Oh shit, have you heard Crack Addict by Limp Bizkit? It's so sick."
Yeah, no, I don't think I heard that one.
It's an interesting one to listen to because I think that sort of style, it's more like Chocolate Starfish than Results May Vary ended up sounding. So I think that song is like a glimpse of what Results May Vary could have been if they just would have continued on from Chocolate Starfish. It's really good. It's a really good song. I'm surprised they haven't even bothered releasing it at all up to this point. It was just that leaked one online, but they never officially released it anywhere.
Interesting. Is it anywhere? Is it like on?
It's on YouTube.
You said it was a wrestling thing.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's on web. They played it live at. Excuse me. They played it live at WrestleMania.
Okay, but it wasn't anybody's entrance music or anything. So it's not on a wrestling album or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
No, but it's definitely worth listening.
That's cool.
It's an interesting one. They actually did a track with Eminem called "Turn Me Loose," which was supposed to be on Significant Other, but they went with "End Together Now" instead of "Turn Me Loose," and you can listen to "Turn Me Loose" on YouTube, which is an interesting listen to hear Limp Bizkit and Eminem together. But it's probably unfinished because they probably didn't get around to finish it. So it's not half as much of a good song as "End Together Now" is. So I understand why they didn't put that in that. But this is 99 Eminem. Like, he was just getting to like that huge status. By 2000, he was a god. Yeah. So that could have been a real sort of different moment for Bizkit. Maybe would have pushed them even further over the edge having a song. But their relationship was quite well known at the time anyway. You know, Fred Durst was in Eminem's videos, Eminem was in Limp Bizkit videos. It's, they were quite well known as friends, and then they had a little falling out for a few years. And I think now they're just back to talking to each other, I would guess. But it was just like, hey, we're the only two white rappers in town. Do you want to be friends? Sure.
Awesome. I didn't know about that one either.
Yeah, that one, it's not a great track, but it's just interesting to listen to. And I actually think that Fred Durst's rhymes are way better than Eminem's on that track.
Okay.
He definitely outdoes him, but I don't think it was a competition. Anyway, also mention they've got a cover of Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home that's mashed with the Verve's Bittersweet Symphony that came out on their Best Of album that came out in 2005, and they released that as a single as well. And I like that. I don't like that many Motley Crue songs, but I do like Home Sweet Home. It's a great song. And I think the Bizkit cover's quite good, actually. It's quite interesting. And it's also mashed a little bit with Bittersweet Symphony by the Verve, which is just... just because the lyrics and stuff go together, I think. But that's an interesting listen as well. So just to tell everyone, I do have a Limp Bizkit playlist that I will get Adam to attach to this. We'll put it in the description and everything, and I'll put it on in a Discord. And that has a lot of these songs on it, that ones that are actually on Spotify. So cool. And a couple of B-sides I want to mention as well. I won't go into the details of what they sound like, but Shot and Just Drop Dead, they were B-sides from Results May Vary, and they're better than most of the stuff on Results May Vary. So it's kind of weird that they chose two songs that are better than quite a few tracks on the actual record to be a B-side for one of the singles, when in fact those two songs definitely should have been on the album.
Yeah.
And I've put those, they're on Spotify. I've put those on there as well. They're really good.
Cool.
Really good songs.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then finally, we'll just talk about the new track, obviously Making Love to Morgan Wallen, which I actually really liked. And I think we both kind of liked it, right?
I think I did. I don't think I listened to it properly again for this. I was trying to listen to their albums. But I think I did like it a little bit. It was a pleasant surprise.
Yes. Yeah, it was very good. I mean,
hearing it, yeah.
I got significant other vibes from it, where it doesn't sound quite as like polished and trying to sound as huge as the sort of Chocolate Starfish era. It sounds more sort of just a little bit taken back, which is why I love Significant Others so much. I got that vibe from it. So, hopefully they still continue to do what they're doing on Still Sucks, because when we talk about that, I think the album's really great as well. So, but anyway, I'm babbling. Right.
Yeah, cool.
Shall we talk about the albums, and shall we do it in chronological order so it makes sense?
Yes, we should.
Yeah, so moving on to Limp Bizkit's albums. Obviously, we're going to do this in chronological order. And there's a little surprise in here for us as well. A little extra something that I've prepared, where maybe it should have fitted into the chronological order of Limp Bizkit albums. Anyway.
Okay.
$3 bill, y'all, 1997. Holy hell, that sounds like a million years ago now. They had done a couple of EPs and a couple of like CDs handing out and a couple of bits here and there for A&R people, but this was the first official, Limp Bizkit album. So I'll read through a couple of bits about it, then I'll talk to Adam about it, and then we will discuss. So the band's first album is a little bit rough around the edges, but it's got so much raw energy. The whole band's performance is just angry, and it just sounds like someone with a point to prove. They just want to claw their way into the world. His vocals are the same, really angry. They feel kind of honest delivery as well. A great combination of hip hop and metal. A lot of people were trying to do this kind of music at the time, but it wasn't really gelling. And this was one of the bands that came along with people like, okay, these two things can be mashed together to make something that's just great. It kind of set the standard at the time for what rap and rock bands kind of could be together. It was like a little look into the future of, okay, this isn't the greatest thing this band will ever do, but it's definitely just a little inkling of what they could do. A lot of great songs, a few stand out to me on this one. Pollution is absolutely crushing, kicking the album off. I love the end of that song with Fred Durst just screaming, and then there's another version of Fred Durst in the headphones telling that version of Fred Durst to shut up because he's just continuously screaming. It's just amazing. Straight away you're like, okay, this band are going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Counterfeit, one of the band's first singles, that's incredible as well. Really good video as well, if you want to check that out. Nobody Loves Me, fucking love that song. Sour's also really good, great bass line. Of course, their cover of George Michael's Faith, a really great cover version, and they obviously still play it to this day. George Michael hated this cover. He absolutely despised this cover of his song, probably because it was just so different to... That was then. I'm not sure, obviously, before he passed away, how he felt about it. He might have sort of warmed up to it, or not really cared about it that much. It wasn't actually supposed to be on the album as well. They'd done bits of the album, and the producer at the time said, maybe we shouldn't stick this on because it's not quite right. But I think once they finished the song, they thought, actually, this is really good. A lot of pent-up aggression, just a lot of rawness, a lot of energy, a lot of like the first mashings of stuff coming together. I think it's got some really good songs in it, but I think just out of intrigue of where they started, it's a really fucking interesting album to listen to. And for a first album, I think really good. Like, I love this one all the way through, but some people just pick from it. But what did you think of $3 bill, y'all?
So I was never really interested in it. Similar to what I said earlier, the first two albums I never really listened to that much. Obviously listened to them a little bit again for this, and I I kind of warmed to it. Yeah, I kind of got it a bit more. I think originally it was just a bit too raw sounding, a bit like, it is not great because it sounds a bit rough on first impressions. So I never went back to it. But I think it was only a couple of days ago, yesterday or the day before, I was listening to it again, and yeah, at least half the songs I was like, actually, yeah, this is quite good. Actually, I'm enjoying this. It's all right. And then so a few more listens, and I probably would enjoy some of the other songs a bit more as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a grower. Even when I first got this, I got Significant Other first, then I got this, and it did take a couple of listens to sort of get into it because it is just less polished than the rest of their stuff is. But then once you listen to it 5 or 6 times, you're like, fuck me, this is really good. This is like really good for a first sort of starter album. But yeah, so it's a good place to start, and I honestly do recommend anyone listening to this because it might, you might dig some of it. And I think the singles off of it, like Pollution, Counterfeit, Nobody Loves Me, they're all really, really good. I think people should listen to it. It's probably closer to Korn than Limp Bizkit ever were. They were so tight with Korn at this time. It's kind of got that more
I can see that
Korn sounding edge than this stuff ever did. And I think the reason why Significant Other is so vastly different from this is because at the time they were getting so many Korn comparisons. And I think they wanted to say, look, we hang around with Korn, they're our friends, but we don't want to be like them musically. Yeah, so they didn't really want to compare to them.
No. Yeah, I think I heard a story, actually. It's probably quite a well-known story, but just in case people haven't heard, how they sort of got in with Korn. I think they played a show with them, and Fred Durst basically convinced at least Jonathan Davis, might have been the other guys as well, to come back to his apartment or flat to show them his tattooing skills.
Yes.
Which weren't very good, but he had their demo playing while he was tattooing them.
Yeah.
And they sort of got in with them that way. That
was
cool.
Yeah, I think Head's got some Fred Durst originals on him. And I think in years since, he has become a better tattooist, and he has tattooed a couple of people, I think. But yeah, at the time, you know what I mean, just doing it out of your apartment. But yeah, I think Head's definitely got some Fred Durst originals on him, which is fucking pretty cool. Yeah, so let's move on. Let's move on to 2 years later, to 1999's Significant Other. So obviously way more refined. They kind of knew where they wanted to go. Producer knew what they wanted to sound like. And then, I think that this and Chocolate Starfish, between the two, change for my favourite Limp Bizkit album. The grooves are really great on this. The bass work is just insane. Like, Sam Rivers is such an underrated bass player, especially being an original bassist. Just listening to that rearranged bass lick, and they're very hip hop bass lines. You could put any of these bass lines underneath any hip hop track, and you wouldn't even notice, because they are just pure hip hop bass lines. Apart from when the guitars kick in and they become a little bit more rocky. But if you take all the rest of the music out and like just leave some of the beats and his bass lines, it's just pure hip hop. It's pure hip hop. Which is why it always feels like this band had so much groove, because the rhythm section of this band is just so fucking good. Like, he's such a great drummer and he's such a good bass player, and that's why they always had such a good sort of vibe that you have to kind of just, oh yes, mate, that's just such a tight groove, which is why I think I always got into them. Yeah, but again, the guitars as well are really good. Some of Wes Borland's best guitar work is on this album. It's really great. This one was nominated for Best Rock Album at the Grammys as well. Didn't reach it, but did reach the #1 spot in the US in the album charts, and selling nearly 1 million copies in the first week of release, which is like, holy shit, that's insane. And like, they've gone from being a band that, we're kind of on the cusp of doing something to like, releasing songs like Break Stuff and, mega singles. And then all of a sudden they're like forefront of metal. It's like they're just pushed in front of everyone, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
So this one contains literally some of the band's best songs. It's got Just Like This, which when I saw them in 2022, they opened up the show with Just Like This, which is the first proper song on the album. Fucking love that song. Underrated Bizkit song. Of course, it's got, Nookie, massive song, Rearranged, huge song, possibly the band's best ever rap track. Like I said before, with End Together Now with Method Man, that is a fucking sick track. And of course, I just mentioned the mega single Break Stuff, where, you know,
Yeah.
they, you know, people just obsess over that song and go mental to that song as much now as they did in 1999. It's sort of, it's captured not just our generation, but multiple generations, because that song is just still so relevant that you get angry at your life, you get angry at things around you, what people say to you, you get fed up, and you just want to fucking smash everything. And I don't think that message will lose its sort of grandeur for many, many years. It's just gonna, it's just gonna continue to get picked up by each generation to be like, look, we're angry as shit, okay? And we want to wreck this fucking place, and this is the song we do it to. I think there's a sense of depth with this one that a lot of the other albums are missing. We'll talk about Chocolate Starfish, which does have a bit of depth. This one has sort of a little bit of a more of an emotional touch than the first album did, or they kind of ever got afterwards, really, which is one of the things I like about it. And this is where they started to sort of link the songs together with tracks in between, musical interludes, little chatting bits, sound effects, where the whole project was, they were making songs like hip-hop artists were, where hip-hop artists weren't just making songs, they were making songs that join into each other, beats that go from one beat, slip into the next beat, into the next song. So I think them having a DJ and having that hip-hop edge really helped their music feel different from everyone else's, because everyone else's albums were just, this is where the song stops, this is where the song starts. Whereas theirs would have like a whole song and then like a mini song after that, and then that mini song would go into the next track, and they'd have like hidden tracks, outros, intros, like that sort of stuff just wasn't being done by other bands at the time. They were sort of just saying, hey, we're going to do what the hip hop guys have. We're going to have intros, we're going to have outros, we're going to have interludes, we're going to have, you know, what people were doing on mixtapes basically when they're handing out back in the day, you know, old school hip hop mixtapes would just have all sorts of weird shit on them. And I noticed that at the time. I was like, wow, this is vastly different, you know, from what other bands are doing. And they did continue it on a couple of the albums, not all of them, which I think hurt a few of the albums, but we'll get to that. But anyway, yeah, I think this is great to start to finish. This one always just brings back so many great memories for me, because it was the first Limp Bizkit album I got into, first one I properly bought in 99. And I just loved it from start to finish. I just thought it was fucking excellent. And I think it still stands up now, and I enjoy it just as much as I did back then. Adam, how do you feel about 1999's Significant Other?
Geez, well, how can I follow that? But yeah, looking at it, so I said to you earlier, I'm not as big a fan as this one as Chocolate Starfish, but Chocolate Starfish was the one that I got into them through. But like you said, there's so many great songs on this album. I haven't listened to it as an album as much, but yeah, Nookie was always one of my favorite songs. And Together Now, I remember when I first heard that, and I was thinking, you know, this is a weird song to be on a Limp Bizkit album, but I didn't really know what Limp Bizkit were. It's probably not that weird. But I was like, I like it anyway. I remember thinking to myself, you know, I can't imagine many people really liking this that much because it's so different. But I mean, it's massive. How wrong I was. Yeah, so good.
It is
so
very good, and it's weird to have like a just a straight up hip hop track just dead in the middle of your rock metal album.
Yeah. When you said about having stuff in the middle of the tracks, I remember the first album I ever heard that on was Issues. Well, that's got loads of different stuff. I don't know if that's before or after this.
Yeah, around the same time, same year.
Probably. Okay. Yeah, I had Issues. I never got into this. But yeah, I mean, great album. Like you said, it's a little bit more rough around it. Well, not quite as polished as Chocolate Starfish. And I think when you're younger, you know, when you're that young, you think better quality sounding means better songs. So maybe that's another reason why I sort of tried listening back at this one and went, you know what, this one must be better because it sounds better.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. I didn't know back then people might deliberately want to make it sound a bit more
Yeah,
raw.
I think Chocolate Starfish got shit at the time for sounding a little bit too refined. So I mean, it's like one little dial change, and you've gone from sounding perfectly to being too much. It's just one of those sort of things, isn't it? Like tiny little adjustments here and there, and all of a sudden you're, oh my god, this band it sounds too good now. It sounds overproduced, or all that bollocks.
Yeah.
I mean, music can be overproduced, but none of these albums are. Some of them are probably underproduced when we get round to them.
Yeah, but yeah, just generally great album. I didn't know it as much.
Yeah, I think even if you one day just stick it on, right? Even if you're just doing something, and once you hear all the sort of little links for those songs, I think you'll be like, shit, yeah, that's actually really cool. And like think about it from sort of, imagine like listening to that in '99, like you would have for Issues, and go, oh, okay, there's like a little softly spoken sung interlude bit, and then it goes into like a disgusting riff. I actually think that you mentioned that Issues and Significant Other, I think I'm going to listen to those albums one after the other. I don't know which way round, but I think those two albums would go together really well.
Yeah, probably.
Same year, bands that were friends, knocking it out the park as well. I feel like those two albums would really go well together. So I think I'm going to listen to back at some point.
Yeah. Well, there's something I got to say on that. So I'm going to come back to this in a little bit when we get to Gold Cobra.
Okay.
So put a pin in that.
Oh, put a pin in it, baby. Okay, let's move on from 1999, and let's move on to probably one of the biggest metal albums of all time, I would say. One of the most well-known, talked about, shit on, praised, everything, basically. It is Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water from 2001. So this album set a record for the highest first week sales of a rock album, with over 1 million copies sold in the US in its first week of release. 400,000 of those sales happened during the first day. That is absolutely fucking mind-blowing sales, that is. I mean, talk about counting money. I know a lot of bands got ripped off by labels, and they took a lot of the money, but still, excuse me, Bizkit must have been thinking, holy shit, man, we're going to be fucking rolling in it. Doing that made it the fastest selling rock album ever, breaking the record which was held for 7 years by Pearl Jam's Versus. That album as well, this album has since been certified gold, platinum, and then 6 times multi-platinum, which is just like, okay, I'm trying to fathom. But anyway, it's basically sold a shitload of versions of it. It always has, and I think it will continue to sell on vinyl. People will still buy CDs of this album. People will, download it a million times. It's always going to be a big album, I think. I mean, it's a tour de force of incredible songs. I mean, it barely lets up for a second. I think that this album is the definition of a roller coaster ride in album form, because you're like grabbing on, holding on, going, Jesus Christ, this fucking album. And then even when it sort of slows down a little bit, the quality of the songs don't dip. They just sort of, it slows for a bit. Like being on a roller coaster, as you're going up to the top, and then bang, the riffs kick in and you start sliding back down again, and all going mental, ready to sort of thrust you into some sort of head banging or jumping around fit, which is what I was having when this album came out. And a lot of the last one, really cool little interludes, songs that join up together, songs at the end of songs. Like I said, it's a tough choice for me between this and Significant Other being my favourite album. And if you ask me, on different days of the week, either one could be my favourite. One week I might say Chocolate Starfish, one week I might say Significant Other. But yeah, I mean, quickly the tracks, Hot Dog, really well-known song, of course, with the big swearing part to it, which was amazing. I do actually have a radio version of this album where all of the singing is cut, all of the swearing is cut out, which would have been like a promotional version that they would have used for the radio at the time, which... And Hot Dog is impossible to listen to without the swearing. It is
Yeah.
a horrible
Yeah, I
listen.
bet.
It's a really horrible listen without the swearing. It's fucking terrible. And of course, you've got My Generation, which ended up to be one of their biggest tracks, still played today. Full Nelson, which was probably my favourite live song that they played when I saw them back in the day. Really heavy. And they always had pyro for Full Nelson for some reason. My Way, of course, their kind of ballad, I would say. Their huge ballad, obviously, that people still love. Rolling. When Limp Bizkit released Rolling, there is no question that they were the biggest band anywhere out of any genre of music, any pop band, anything. They were the biggest band on the planet. It was just insane. Like, I can't describe to people that weren't there just how involved in everything this fucking band was. Like, I understand why people hated them so much, because you just could not escape. You couldn't escape them on TV. You couldn't escape them in video games. You couldn't escape them on the radio. You couldn't escape them listening in your mate's car. They were all over fucking wrestling. They were just in, which I think is why they're so into the DNA of that generation, is they were just fucking everywhere. They were playing, he was doing songs with Christina Aguilera on the fucking MTV Awards. They were in other people's music videos. I mean, you literally could not escape Limp Bizkit for a second. And if you're a Bizkit fan, it was great. But it was also the reason why Limp Bizkit get shit on and hated so much, is that exact reason.
Yeah.
And it's the same with, we've talked about before, your Coldplays, your Nickelbacks. If you're a band and you get big, people will hate you just for being big. It doesn't matter what you sound like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, how much good you do. They will just literally hate you. But as Fred Durst always said, I really don't care, because as long as people are talking about the band and buying our CDs, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
And I like that. Anyway, and then I'll just mention a few others. Obviously, Living It Up, The One, which is like their more chilled out stuff. Get Your Groove On, which is sick. Take a Look Around, of course, the Mission Impossible 2 theme. I absolutely loved that movie. It had a great soundtrack, and that song was like the perfect theme for a 2000s Mission Impossible movie. Just like fucking and MI2 isn't the best Mission Impossible film. I like it more than some other people do, and I still think has its merits, but it's probably in the bottom 3, even though it's still good. But yeah, it's just so 2000s. And then I'll just quickly talk about Boiler, which I think is probably their best emotional song. Like, in that one, he really manages to convey some like dark fucking shit in that song, which again is something that, although he writes a lot of nonsensical bollocks in his lyrics, which we'll get to in some of the later albums, he does also write some quite poignant things that I think get overlooked because of the amount of jokey, tongue-in-cheek stuff they have as well. I don't think some of his songs are taken seriously enough. The band in general aren't taken seriously enough, just because they're all such cracking musicians. But anyway, Adam, what do you think of Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavoured water?
Yeah, I mean, I love this album. I listened to it over and over and over again. Unlike what you said earlier, I did actually listen to some albums, and this was one of them. And I think it's something that I've thought for a little while, that I've been meaning to say. Like, we got some shit for shitting on Use Your Illusion, Appetite for Destruction.
I don't care. It's fucking shit.
Saying there's no filler songs on it. But I think if you own the album, and like back in that time, we'd all walk around with it in a tape player or in a Discman, and you'd listen to the whole album over and over again, even if there are songs that aren't as good, you grow to love them anyway.
True. Yeah.
Whereas other people who are listening to it for the first time, they might not like those songs, and they'll just keep skipping over them. So one man's filler is another man's, oi, fuck off. I love Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah, true.
Kind of thing. But so yeah, like you said, honestly, Boiler's not coming to me at the minute. I can't think of what it was, but I know if I heard it, I would be like, oh yeah, of course it is. I know this song. but take a look around. I absolutely loved as well. Oh, but you couldn't get away from that. I can't really say much more. I loved this album. I really did.
Yeah, it is great. It is great. And like you, I listened to this to death at the time. I mean, I've still got my original Bizkit CDs. I think I bought every single Bizkit album. I've got them in the loft. My Chocolate Starfish and Significant Other are so scratched. I'll be surprised if they play in any CD player, because I rinsed these albums, just entirely rinsed them, and probably didn't take much care of them back in the day either. But yeah, it's an incredible album. This was this year, and a couple of years afterwards, new metal, this and Hybrid Theory and Infest and a couple of others, Toxicity, a couple of others sort of around these years, new metal would never get this good or this big again. It was the forefront. It was, and unfortunately after this, it was not a slow, a quick and quite sudden decline in people wanting it and people making it. It sort of just went, nope, thank you very much, your time is done. But yeah,
yeah,
I guess that's what happens when music changes. But anyway, we won't stick on this one for too long. But yeah, great album. I'm sure many of you have listened to it, but I think every single track on this, A Lot Less Than Anything Other, is worth your time. I think you should go and check it out. Let's move on to 2003's Results May Vary. Now, a weird time for Bizkit. Like I said before, in 2001, Wes Borland left the band to, of course, his guitar, his artwork, all the stuff that he brought to the band, had gone. They recruited Mike Smith, formerly of the band Snot, another massive, back in the day, new metal band that they were very friendly with. He recorded and toured this album with the band, but left afterwards and, of course, never came back. This one's a very mixed bag of musical styles and quality of writing for me. Musically, it's all over the place. It's not as joined up. It's not as connected. It doesn't have those connection moments in the songs like the last two albums did. They were going for a sort of different vibe. They wanted to make songs rather than an album, which I get. I like it a lot. Not as much as some bits. I think it has some very dull, not great moments on it, but I think also it has some quite highs in the Limp Bizkit realm. Like Eat You Alive, probably one of the best Bizkit singles. Really, really great. Down Another Day, which again is a random one, if this one I really like. Take It Home, I think, is a great song as well. Red Light, Green Light featuring Snoop Dogg is so good and so much fun, and just a song that me and my brother over the years have we'll stick that one in the car full blast and we will just rap the entire fucking thing because it's just so good. And I'll mention Head for the Barricade, which is probably Limp Bizkit's heaviest song, and I think they're most underrated. I think if they released that as a single at the time, this album possibly might have done better than it actually did. And of course, it's got the very, very good cover of The Who's Behind Blue Eyes, which is really, really great, and a really great cover of that. Overall, I'd say an unappreciated album. I agree with a lot of people that it's not their best, but a lot of people would have you believe that this album is complete shit, when I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think that it's strong all the way through. I think I like to pick from this album for good stuff, but I still think it probably has 6 to 7 really good, strong, standout Limp Bizkit tracks on it. So yeah, mixed bag for me, and probably one of the worst album covers of all time, and is ugly as shit, and probably a reason why this album didn't sell very well at the time. Adam, what do you think of 2003's Results May Vary?
So yeah, I did buy this one as well. I don't think I was too keen on Eat You Alive at the time. I thought it was okay. It wasn't as good as their other sort of singles. But Behind Blue Eyes was the reason why I bought this album. I don't think I would have bothered with it otherwise. And about a week ago, I put it on again for the first time in many, many years. I didn't think much of it until yesterday morning. Again, I put it on the way to work again, and maybe I wasn't fully concentrating, or something to do with what I'm going to say about Gold Cobra again. So I don't want to keep repeating myself. So I'll say it all later. But yeah, I was listening to it on the way to work yesterday morning. I was like, so many good songs on this, so many that I remember as well from back then. So I must
Yeah.
have listened to it a hell of a lot, even though I didn't remember liking it that much. I must have, because I must have listened to it a lot to remember so many songs from it.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying it again, and it was songs that I remembered enjoying back then as well. So I agree with you. I think it is underrated. I heard a lot of people saying it's terrible in the things I was watching leading up to this. But no, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's just from Chocolate Starfish to this, it was a disappointment for people. People were naturally disappointed with it, and I think that's why so many people sort of downplayed that it still had some good stuff on it, because it just was nowhere near the quality of the previous album. And obviously there was loads of reasons for that, but yeah, it has some great standout tracks. I wouldn't recommend anyone to listen to it as an album, but all of the tracks that I think are great from this album will be on the playlist that we'll link, and I'll put on there anyway. So I think if people listen to those, they'll think, shit, man, if all of the, like, you could shorten this album is 18 songs long. You could shorten this album to 10 tracks and have a pretty damn solid, decent album. I just think it was a bit overblown. They said, look, we got a shitload of tracks, let's put these all on, but it goes on for far too long, this album.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I obviously didn't get to the end of it when I was listening to it. Yeah, bloody hell, good point. Still only an hour and 8 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah. One thing about good about new metal albums, they were always fucking short.
Yeah.
Literally always short. But anyway, let's move on from 2000 and Triss. Results may vary, and let's move to another fucking very odd album. This was just such a weird time for Limp Bizkit. To 2005's The Unquestionable Truth. Bizkit's best Rage Against the Machine impression? Question mark. So sure. Where do I even begin with this one? So some good riffs, a few good tracks like The Truth, The Surrender, but it just doesn't feel like Limp Bizkit at all. Just doesn't feel like them. Wes Borland came back for this one, and I think the band said, look, we didn't land with Results May Vary. Nu metal's dead, so we don't want to go back to sounding like we did on Chocolate Starfish because it might not land with people. Let's try and do something else. Fred Durst took a really weird off-the-cuff approach to the lyrics and vocals, where he was writing them as he was making the songs up, and then he was singing them live in the studio along with the tracks, which is why the vocals don't sound like they've got any of the sort of great delivery or vocal lines that they had before. I think they were trying to be really raw and off the cuff with it. There was a lot of tension in the band at the time as well. John Otto actually wasn't a part of the recording on this album. He was having substance abuse issues, so I think he was in rehab at the time. So they had one of their mates drumming, one of the sound drummer guys. I'm not surprised that this didn't turn out great, just because of all the stuff surrounding it, and Wes Borland coming back, and loads of tension within the band. It doesn't have the groove and the sort of just give and push, that this band are known for. They tried something different, which you have to applaud them for. But yeah, for me, when this came out, this was even more of a massive disappointment than Results May Vary was, because there was stuff I liked on Results May Vary. When I listened to this, I was hugely deflated, not because it was bad, because it's not bad. It just doesn't sound like Limp Bizkit. Adam, What did you think of 2005's Unquestionable Truth Part 1?
I remember being super hyped about this before it came out, and I went and bought it. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it was because of the chat about Wes Borland is back in the band, But yeah, I did not like it. I absolutely loved The Truth.
Yeah, that is a good song.
The rest of it can suck a dick, if I'm honest. I did not I did not enjoy it one bit.
Yeah, it should be listened to because it's just so weird. It doesn't sound like Limp Bizkit. It's the grooves are different. Even the hip hop elements just sound completely different to what they normally go. I think not having John Utto in the band just shows you how much of an important part of Limp Bizkit he actually is, because the groove just isn't there. There's no groove to these songs at all. They're just straight up whatever they're trying to be, which doesn't make it a good Limp Bizkit album, and it doesn't make it a good anything else album. It's just kind of like a nothing album, even though it contains songs. But I still don't think it's Limp Bizkit's worst album. Let's move on to 2011's Gold Cobra. In my opinion, by a country mile, the worst Limp Bizkit album, because The Unquestionable Truth is not a Limp Bizkit album. So that can't be the worst Limp Bizkit album because it doesn't sound anything like Limp Bizkit. Mostly sloppy guitar work, apart from a couple of songs. I like Douchebag and Gold Cobra from this, being the only two songs that actually work for me. All of Fred Durst's lyrics are the most nonsensical rubbish. They literally make no sense, and they're mostly horribly delivered. I'll just take one line from this album that still makes me feel sick to this day. I don't ride in limos because limos make me car sick. That's the best line he could come up with, ladies and gentlemen. A real shame because it had been 6 years since the last one. Wes Borland was back in the band properly. He hadn't properly, recorded something Limp Bizkit-esque since 2001. So for me, the anticipation was really high. I expected a lot from this album at the time, and I was severely disappointed. I think this album is mostly horrible. The production's horrible. It's sloppy as hell. None of it joins up. And I think 90% of the songs are awful. I didn't know anyone that liked this album. I really, really don't like this album. Adam, what did you think of 2011's Gold Cobra?
Well, I mean, I loved the name of the first song, which is Introbra.
That's good. That's good.
I always remembered loving that naming of it. But I think it was a similar thing too. Results may vary. So again, I think I own this one. It's up in the attic if I do. And I never liked it. And I listened to it maybe about a week ago, and nothing stuck. I wasn't interested. And then this morning, I was on my way to work listening to it. And I was just like, because I was a little bit more familiar with the songs, a little bit more familiar, not familiar, but re-familiarizing myself with their sound. Mm. I was like, some of these songs are actually kind of cool. I'm actually enjoying some of these songs a little bit more. And that's what I was going to say. Like, when I hadn't listened to them for such a long time, their sound and their style can be a bit jarring, because it's not just a soothing melody. It's not just nice music. It is all over the place, and it works for a lot of their stuff. And you got to, I kind of I guess acclimatized my ears to their sound again. And like I said, I was on my way to work. I got, I would say, most of the way through it, about 3/4 of the way through it. Maybe I started losing a bit of concentration, but at least halfway through, I liked most of the songs. So I would listen to it again, I think.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this album has its people that like it. I just, I actively dislike Gold Cobra. I don't actively dislike many albums from bands' discographies, but this is one of them. Like I said, apart from Gold Cobra, which I think is a really good single, and Douchebag, which might be one of Wes Borland's best riffs. It's still sloppy as hell. It's not tight in any way, shape, or form, but the song is good. But yeah, I fucking hated everything from this album. But that's just me.
I never really paid much attention to the lyrics. Now that you said that, I probably will, and I'll be like, oh yeah, all right, this is a load of shit.
Yeah.
which is annoying because I don't want to do that. I want to listen to it and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Right. Before we get into their last album, bonus album. Ding, 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 ding. So, a lot like Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy, there was a version of a Limp Bizkit album that was talked about for a very long time, which I'm sure some of you have heard the title of, which is Stampede of the Disco Elephants.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
That's it. Because everyone heard it.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to tell you a story about now. So,
okay, go for it.
Between Gold Cobra and Still Sucks, there was supposed to be an album that they were talking about for years coming out, which was called Stampede of Disco Elephants. I will tell you the story of that album now. So, due to the poor sales of 2011's Gold Cobra, the band left Interscope Records after 14 years. So, they'd been on that label since the first album, which is just insane. So, in 2012, they signed with Cash Money, which was Lil Wayne's record label. So, the album Stampede of Disco Elephants was officially announced in 2012 by Fred Durst, and he stated that the album would be coming out in 2013. So the following year, the band basically the song Lights was released on the internet. Someone had leaked it from the sessions that they were doing for Stampede Disco Elephants. So then literally like 2 weeks later, the band already had that as a single and a video. So then they released it officially, but it was leaked onto a lot of the sites. Then the band released a couple more tracks off that. They released two very good, probably two of Bizkit's best songs, I would say, which is Ready to Go, featuring Lil Wayne, which is an incredible track. And when that came out, I was so pumped for this album because I thought that song is better than the entire Gold Cobra album, just that song. I thought, they're going to be back. Here we go. I haven't liked a Bizkit album for like 8 years now or something, nearly a decade. I was like, here we go. And then they dropped another song on Spotify, which was Endless Slaughter, and I thought, fuck me, that was so good. So then I was like, yeah, cool, man. You know, when is this album going to come out? Got to the end of 2013, still no Stampede of the Disco Elephants. Then by 2014, the year after, they had left Cash Money Records and became an independent band. So then what they did is they scrapped a lot of the stuff that they'd done with Lil Wayne's record label, and they thought, let's try and work with a load of other bands, bring other artists in to help us write songs as a collaboration for Stampede of Disco Elephants. One of the bands they brought in was Bring Me the Horizon. If you listen to the Bring Me the Horizon song Wonderful Life, the main riff from that song was originally written as a song riff for Limp Bizkit. Now, if you listen to that track, you will not be able to unhear how much that sounds like a Limp Bizkit riff, because it basically is a rip-off Wes Borland riff written for Wes Borland.
Right.
But things fell apart. They didn't quite get what they were doing, and they worked with a couple of other people and all sorts of shit. So yeah, but anyway, listen to Wonderful Life by Bring Me the Horizon. You'll never be able to unhear how Limp Bizkit the riffs are in that song.
Yeah. Nice.
That was in 2016, around that time. Then in July 2017, Durst claimed on Instagram that the album was already released on a file sharing network called Soulseek in 2016, and that it was the fan jobs to find it and listen to it. So he's like putting an album out secretly. But then Borland would come on to refute that, to say that the album was not on Soulseek. He was just fucking with people. But he did say that the band had recorded 28 or 29 songs for the album, and Durst was working on them away from the rest of the band, and they were ready to be mixed by Wes Borland. Then, unfortunately, due to the band not being 100% happy with the songs and the rest of the tracks in the album being delayed again, the album was completely scrapped, and they announced that they would be coming out with the album Still Sucks. According to Wes Borland, a few of the riffs and beats that were supposed to be on Stampede of the Disco Elephants ended up on Still Sucks instead. But there is still one or two complete Limp Bizkit albums that are in the ethos somewhere that have never been shown the light of day. And a lot like sort of Deftones' Eros and Look Outside Your Window, Slipknot. Hopefully these things one day make their way out into the world. They're probably caught up in legalities with record labels and stuff like that. But one day we might get to hear what could have been between them. But I mean, then that was a good 8 years that they were messing around with that. So almost as long as Chinese Democracy, not quite as prolifically known as Chinese Democracy, but a lot of people did hear about this album for a very long time.
Yeah. Do you know what? I would never have thought about that album ever again if you hadn't brought it up then, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's one of those memories that just never would have come to me.
Yeah, and it's a shame because if
That's
like
crazy.
Watch the video and listen to Ready to Go, and it's so good. It's so great. It's like, fuck, man. If we would have got a whole album of this, it would have been amazing. And then Endless Slaughter didn't have a video, but it's on Spotify. Both of these songs, by the way, will be on the playlist as well. They're so good. They're cool. So good. And it's just a shame we never got to hear an album of these songs, which is just a real shame. But anyway, that is a good...
I'm pretty sure I've heard Ready to Go, but I'm going to write it down anyway.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Anyway, that is a good transition into your last Limp Bizkit album to be released. It is Still Sucks from 2021. So this is the comeback that Gold Cobra should have been. Keeping it simple, with good grooves, great guitar, fun lyrics, good production, not sloppy at all, really well produced. Basically everything that you want from a Limp Bizkit album and everything that the last 3 albums should have been. I think that they were just overthinking it too much when instead they should have said, look, let's just make a Limp Bizkit album. It doesn't matter what decade it is. People will like it because it's a Limp Bizkit album. You could tell on this the band had grown up a lot, but they still had that sort of fun side to them. I think in quality-wise, the album dips a tiny little bit in the middle. Starts really great, dips a little bit, but then ends on sort of a massive high. Out of Style, Dirty Ron Biscuit, and Turn It Up. Probably 3 of the best Limp Bizkit songs since Chocolate Starfish, and they're just all in a row on the album. It's just great to listen to those songs and think, shit, man, this is the Bizkit we should have been getting this whole time. Of course, the fun tongue-in-cheek single Dad Vibes, which was a huge hit, which I just loved to, watch TikTok and see all the kids dancing and singing to a new Limp Bizkit track, which was just great for an old-time Limp Bizkit fan, see all the kids into it. And then the album ending strong with Snacky Poo, which I think is a really good, hip-hop infused song. And of course, the reinvented 90s boy band mirroring track that is Goodbye, which I keep on getting Adam to try to listen to because he likes 90s boy band stuff. It just leaves you wanting more for Limp Bizkit. I remember they released this on Halloween in 2001, and me and my brother, being both Limp Bizkit fans, it came out, we just sat downstairs at my house and we put it on and we just stopped it in between each track and then discussed. And we were like, holy shit, this is really good. And I've liked it more since I've listened to it. It's more of a grower than a shower, but I still think overall the quality is so much better than a lot of the shit that they put out. And it's just made me more excited for more music, which is why when I heard they were making a new album, I was like, fucking awesome. I can't wait for them to sort of just continue to possibly get an even better album out there. But anyway, Adam, what do you think of 2021's Still Sucks?
Cool. Yeah, I think a similar thing to the last one, and results may vary. I wasn't too keen on it to start with, but after a few listens and after getting sort of my ear back into listening to them, I thought some of it was quite good. Some just really random stuff like Love to Hate, where it's talking about Limp Bizkit and how they suck, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's 2 people having a conversation. Yeah, it's weird. I definitely got to Snacky Poo. I don't remember getting to Goodbye.
For fuck's sake. This is like the 3rd time I've said to him, just listen to this fucking track, you piece of shit.
Maybe I heard it. Maybe I wasn't paying too much attention. I remember I was in work when Snacky Poo came on. I was like, the fuck is this? But it's weird. It's all over the place. But I remember thinking, where the hell do Limp Bizkit go? Because, like we've said a few times, they can't go back to the original sound. But you don't want to change it too much.
No.
And so, where do they go with it? And I think for what this is, I think it's a pretty good album. I would want to listen to it a few more times again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely a grower, but I do recommend that it's a good window into what Limp Bizkit are now. And obviously this album was, it's like 5 years ago now. I think they just need a more refined version of this. So this, but more craziness, more riffs, more fucking outlandish behavior, just more, basically this, but turned up to 11. I think would be where Limp Bizkit should go. But I suppose one of the great things about this band is you never really know where they're going to go, because you're like, what the fuck are they going to come out with next? So that's kind of interesting. It always makes me look forward to listening to a Limp Bizkit. And after this one, I don't have the fear that I would have had listening to something after Gold Cobra or something. Because me and brother were literally just like, after the first 2 tracks, we were just like, I'm so glad this sounds nothing like Gold Cobra. Like, it sounds so good in comparison. So it's been a roller coaster ride being a Limp Bizkit fan from, a long-term Limp Bizkit fan. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, and there's been some great times, some of the best times, and some very low lows as well. Really down in the gutter lows. But I think that's what makes watching them so good, because they have so many cool songs to pull from, and which is why I think playing Break Stuff twice on a show is like such a sort of kick in the face for their own music. It's like there's so many good songs. I just never got it. I never liked it. I thought it was stupid. And yeah, I don't think any band should play their song twice live. I think that is just silly. I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't mind it with Break Stuff because it's such a massive, legendary song. But yes, I agree. No band should ever play a song twice.
Yes.
I remember when I was in a band, we finished and the guitarist was like super hyped, and we'd played every song we knew, or every song we had, and he was like, "Oh, let's play this one again." I was like, "No, we are not replaying a song that we've already played."
Yeah,
just, no,
it's a red flag.
Put the stuff down. Get off the stage.
I agree, and I think, Fred, if you're listening to this, don't do it, bro. You've got so many good songs. Just play another fucking great song, because you've got plenty of them. Play whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather hear something of Gold Cobra than listen to Break Stuff again. Like what's really shit on this album? Shotgun. Let's just pick a random shit song from that album. Play Shotgun from Gold Cobra, and I'll be a happy man that you didn't play Break Stuff again.
Everyone is bothered by that. It doesn't bother me that because it is Break Stuff. There's lots of almost every other song in existence. I wouldn't agree, but they could play Break Stuff 4 times, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's not for me. But anyway, Bizkit don't do out. Even if they release an album now, they're not gonna go up and play like. They're not going to do a Maiden where they're like, we're going to play the first 5 tracks from our new album and then play the old stuff.
No.
You will always get a best of Bizkit set, which is why they're so much fun live. They're so groovy. They're so much fun. They connect with, like we said, all generations, all the way down to the kids now who are absolutely digging them, which is why they're selling out arenas and fucking all sorts of shit. So you're always going to get a good Bizkit set full of all of the hits, and Download it's going to be a huge stage. I don't know what they're going to do with that stage. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what level of pyro they're going to have. It's going to be a best of set. Hopefully there'll be a few new songs in there, which would be fucking awesome as well. We don't know when that album's going to come out. I don't think it's going to be out by June because I haven't heard anything. I'd assume it will be out by the end of the year.
Maybe it's already out. Maybe. I had heard the release date was correct, but it is already out on a weird, obscure site, maybe Bandcamp. but under a different name or something.
The new Limp Bizkit album is on Bandcamp. You just have to find it. It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's Limp Bizkit. Overall thoughts?
Yeah, that's it.
Overall thoughts are I love this band, and I always have loved this band. Even when they've made shit, I've still loved this band. And yeah, I think especially a headline set, and with the passing of Sam Rivers, I think this one might be a little bit more emotional than your normal Limp Bizkit set would be.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I've not the opposite. Even though I've listened to all of it, I've not always been too interested in them. Even though I have liked a lot of their stuff going through the years. It's weird. I don't really understand that. But I'm quite looking forward to them. Not quite as hyped as I am for Guns N' Roses, like from the last episode. I think just talking about them, like I said, talking about them in the way we did, just worked to get me hyped for Guns N' Roses. I'm still looking forward to Limp Bizkit. Definitely, yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm not going to say too much more about that. What do you? So I was actually looking at their set lists on Setlist FM. I think it was just yesterday, and they normally play about an hour and 40 minutes. And if they get that long, then they will probably play the same set list that they've been doing. Do you think they'll get any longer being a headliner, or will they?
I think they'll use breaks very well in this set. I think they're gonna have a lot of breaks. I think, and that's fair. You know, they're not the youngest of dudes. It's a long set. I think that they'll do the classic go off stage for 5 minutes, come on for an encore. I just think they'll use their time very well. I think they're going to have a lot of fun. I think they're going to get the crowd going. I think Fred Durst is hopefully going to be on, top-notch form. Most of their sets have been very significant other heavy because they want to take everyone back to 1999, and that's the year that Significant Other came. When I saw them at Wembley in 2022, it was a very heavy Significant Other set. Like, they started with Just Like This. They played Rearranged. They played Nookie. They played a couple other things as well for Significant Other that I wasn't expecting them to. So I think it's mostly going to be a mix of Significant Other and Chocolate Starfish, although they do play Dad Vibes live as well. You won't hear anything from Gold Cobra. You won't hear anything from Unquestionable Truth. You might hear something from Results May Vary. They occasionally play Eat You Alive, and they occasionally play Behind Blue Eyes as well. But I guess it all depends on what kind of mood they're feeling. And also, Bizkit love to get people out on stage singing with them. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a couple of other artists come out to sing a couple of tracks, because they've got people up on stage from the crowd and from other bands ever since I first saw them in 2001. They've just been doing that the entire time. I remember in that gig, 2001, him singing The One to this girl he brought on stage, and she was just standing there just bawling her eyes out the whole time. He was just singing The One to her. It was sweet. It was really nice. But and I just they love to interact with the crowd, other bands. So yeah, I think they'll get a lot of other people involved as much as they can.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because they're the big boys with the big balls, so they can do whatever the hell they want.
They can
as they're headlining. So yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
Big old cojones dangling between them.
Awesome. I think I don't think there's anything else really to bring up about Limp Bizkit. Like I said, I was going to bring up a little bit about their set list, but it seems like you already had it all written down as well anyway, because everything you said was correct. I didn't see any Behind Blue Eyes, but it would make sense.
Oh, that was just off the cuff. I didn't have any of that written down.
Huge.
I'm just a Limp Bizkit nerd.
Just a Limp Bizkit nerd, yeah. So yeah, so I looked at, I think the last few that they've played, and yeah, you were spot on with Eat You Alive. I was actually surprised not to see Behind Blue Eyes, but Eat You Alive was there, and then the rest of it from.
Yeah, you might get Faith. You might get Faith, and I think very rarely
they do medleys. They still do medleys.
Yeah, very rarely you hear a little bit of Counterfeit, and a little bit of ones off the first album when they do medleys of stuff. And they always do a few covers as well, like little cover medleys Like a lot like
Yeah.
Korn do. Them and Korn love to do their little cover medleys, don't they? So I think you'll probably get a little bit of that as well.
Yeah. I did read. I didn't write it down. I did read what they were doing at the minute. Yeah, it's gone. But it's on Setlist FM. If you want to have a look, go and have a look. Sweet. Shall we bring it to a close there? Shall we
Yeah.
finish off?
Yeah.
So I love doing that, but I feel so bad that I just copied you.
We're not
Like,
copying me. We're
people copy
copying
me.
Fred Durst. You're not copying me.
Oh, yeah. But I never would have thought about doing that if you hadn't done it.
Oh.
And I'm like,
I just like you would have heard in like Download 2006. If you'd have walked past anywhere near me and my brother's tents, you just would have heard, yeah, and you would have been like, oh my god! If you had a time machine, you would know where we are, literally.
Awesome. Right, let's bring it. Let's close it up there. So before we finish up, we do have to say a massive thank you to all of our Patreons. And I will say at this point, I have now deleted the £10 tier. So if you were on the £10 tier, just go in and check. And if you still want to support us, then reapply or resubscribe to the £8 tier. Otherwise, you might miss out on the t-shirt. But yes, so we have to say a massive thank you to Wendy, Joe Butler, Mike Ferris, Andy Taylor, Liam Hopwood, Tom West, Vicky Rutter, Ethan Brown, Matthew, Scoot, Henry Richardson, Chris Hambridge, Alexander Toon, and James. Thank you, all you massive legends. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you also want to support the podcast, you can do. Head to the episode description. You'll find a link tree in there, and the Patreon link will be in the link tree. Any money we do get goes back into the podcast. We appreciate all the support we get. And as you've just heard, we will say a huge thank you to everybody who supports us as well in every episode. Also, before we go, Simon, do you want to do a plug of your YouTube channel?
I will plug quickly, yes. So on my festival music channel, the last video I brought out was bands that need to retire. That's had some interesting reactions to it, so go and check that if you haven't. And the video on my Simon Says Cinema channel that should be out by the time you get this is what makes 2010 a great sequel to 2001 A Space Odyssey, where I do a mini review of 2010, the year we make contact, which is the kind of unappreciated sequel to 2001 A Space Odyssey.
Fucking nerd.
I am a nerd.
You're going to say exactly the same about me after
I am
I
a
do my
nerd.
plug.
There you go.
I am also on YouTube doing a D&D actual play with a few friends. You might know some of them, but it's called Critical Pit, and the link will be in the episode description as well. We are fully going now. We've the first episode's been out for a couple of weeks now. We've just recently released the second episode. Well, not the second episode, the first bonus episode, which is us just chatting about what happened in the first episode, what the guys think, how they feel about it, where they think the storylines might be going. It's a very cool one, that one. And we are calling those the encore episodes.
Very good.
Which is
very good.
I'm quite proud of that name. And we're actually recording the next episode, the third episode tomorrow night. So the second episode should be up very soon as well. But for all of those, you'll be able to find the links in the links in the episode description. We should go because I am getting very tired and I can't talk properly anymore.
Properly.
So is there anything else we need to plug? I don't think so. No. So next episode will not be part of our countdown to download, I'm afraid. My brain hurts. I need a little bit of a break from listening to all of this music again as research for the show. Because after the next episode, we are going to be listening to every single band playing at Download over the weekend. So we're going to do a fun one, have a bit of a break. We're going to be talking about Edfest. We're going to do as much research as we possibly can. We are going to maybe talk a little bit about Sonisphere because it is ran by the same people.
Yeah, we're going to cover that. Maiden in general, talk about Edfest, just the whole sort of thing, how we got here, basically. And maybe revisit our top 10 Iron Maiden albums again and see if they've changed.
Yes. Do you remember what episode that was in? Because I don't remember my top 10.
It was
and I don't know where to
Shenjitsu.
find
It was
it.
the Shenjitsu one, wasn't it?
No, we've done it since then, haven't we?
No,
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we haven't done it since.
we
since
haven't.
it's-
We haven't done our top 10 maiden albums since that episode.
That was episode 7.
That's what I mean.
That
So
was
it's been
4.5 years ago.
4.5
Okay.
years ago. I think it's time for us. Everyone knows the show that me and Adam are just two of the biggest Maiden fans. So I think it might be time to revisit, because my albums change over that period of time, because I'm listening to some albums more than others. Some albums I get into that I didn't get into before. My top 10 has definitely changed. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if mine has, so
Okay.
you can just talk for that bit. You can monologue it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Well, yeah, that's next episode. And then, like we said, after that, it's going to be fully back into the countdown to download and everything that's going to happen over the weekend. It's getting exciting. By the time we're doing that episode, it'll be 2 months till download.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to come around quick.
It's about 3 months to download now. So, yeah, I think once it gets out past Christmas and New Year, that time just flies. It's a long, long, long wait to get to Christmas and New Year, and then time's gone. So, yeah, cool. Excellent. Lots to talk about, lots of research, lots of good stuff coming in. But we've got to go for this episode, so it's a goodbye from Simon.
Goodbye.
And a goodbye from
Yeah.
me. Goodbye.
Yeah.